What is going on, everybody? My name is Jay, and this is the Wild Wormhole episode. I lost track of what episode it is, guys, because episode 5 or 4.
Is it 5? I think it's 4.
I think it's 4.
I'm pretty sure
I think it's 4, guys. So this week we're not gonna have video again, same as last week. That's my fault. I recently got married in the in-between of the month or 2-month gap of our episodes or whatever. I moved into a new house, all that kind of stuff, so I haven't got my setup yet. I ain't set all my stuff up yet, so that's why we don't have video. We're gonna have video again as soon as probably around Christmas time. I'll have time to set everything up and have everything unpacked, all that kind of stuff.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
But I'm here with my co-hosts, D-House and Mike. I don't know if I already mentioned that. How are you guys doing? Have you guys been playing lots of Keyforge? Because I hope you have. I know you've been playing online with me on the old Crucible. Crucible Diddy.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I've been playing a ton of Keyforge. It's so fun that the game's out. It's like talking about it on here has just made me more excited about the game. And I mentioned last time some coworkers got into it. And one specific coworker who I never thought would be into games has become like the game's biggest like cheerleader advocate. He's telling everybody we work with about it. He's setting up lunch games to teach people.
Nice.
Like, it's insane, man.
Awesome.
Like I think I'm gonna be able to play Keyforge like every day at work because of
That's
because
the
of
best.
him.
I'm so
not even
jealous.
because of me.
Man.
There you go. What about you, Mike?
I played a little bit this week. We got to play a couple games via the internet. Mostly I got my ass kicked, but it was still a fun time. I think I played a couple games like earlier in the week with my brother and my other buddy. And then last night I went over to a first night of Hanukkah party / game night / just like we needed an excuse to hang out. And introduced one of my friends to the game. We didn't get to actually play a game yet, but we set up a time where we can get together and like actually play.
Yeah,
very nice.
So since you mentioned the online playing, we have been playing on the Crucible and grinding out some games, which has been a blast, the three of us. But I gotta say, I have some beef to pick right now because I went on the old tweeter and tweeted from our account. I said, hey, the three of us are grinding out games online today. You know, who you putting money on? And there were votes for Mike, and there were votes for Jay. There were no votes for D-House. None.
Top 8 of Worlds in Star Wars Destiny doesn't count for anything, man.
Yeah, without any practice.
Like, come on, man. Nothing.
And you're the one that had the best record out of the three of us.
I know. It hurt, man. I'm like, I got no friends, no hope. It's Christmas time, and I'm sad.
Yeah, the first one was Mike. The first vote was for Mike, and he was the one that was doing the worst.
Hey, to be fair, that was the first time I had ever used that system, like that like web app. And it is not the most intuitive when you are first starting.
When you first start, it's definitely not intuitive, but once you kind of learn how it works,
by game 3, I was feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah, and it's really cool how it does everything for you. I kind of like that, but there are a couple problems with like swapping. For one, it's really difficult to rewind if you do like a big play.
Yeah.
It just reset everything. And then there's a couple things like you can't manually draw a card, stuff like that. But besides that, it's really, really awesome that it does everything for you, unlike Tabletop Simulator.
It'll definitely spoil you if you're used to like TTS. By the way, if you're new and you're just listening to us, we're talking about if you just type in thecrucible.online, you can go and start playing games, import your decks. If you haven't checked it out yet, we referenced it, but we never said where it actually was.
Yeah. I have like a couple things to say about the platform in general. One is that I actually do think that like the fact that it is kind of locked in where you can't really rewind and stuff like that, like will only make you a better player. Even though I may complain, like, you know, at the time. And the other thing is that I think it pales in comparison to playing in person. I like given the opportunity to play in person or, you know, online, I'll play I'll take playing in person every single time.
Yeah, same here.
But the problem is that you guys live a little bit far from me.
We live literally on the opposite sides of the United States. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, and you're in Cali.
Yeah. So this is literally the only way that we can get to play with each other. So I'm definitely grateful for that.
Except at Worlds.
Yeah,
True.
the world.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Before we move on, I want you to mention our last game that we played.
Oh man,
where you double battle fleeted into. I was destroying you.
Oh yeah,
the whole game. Absolutely obliterating you. And you won.
It was. I think by like turn 9, you were at 2 keys and I was still at 0. And then like the next 3 turns, I forged a key every single turn, and 2 of the turns I think I forged a key like on the spot, like at least the very last one, because I'm playing a deck with Key Abduction and 2 Battle Fleets, so it's already my dream deck. All
right, let's make good radio and say what Battle Fleet does.
Okay,
it's a Mars card. It's an action. It gives you an amber for playing it, and it says play, reveal any number of Mars cards from your hand. For each card revealed this way, draw 1 card.
Yep, and then Key Abduction is returning each Mars creature to its owner's hand. And then you can forge a key at +9 its current cost, reduced by 1 for each card in your hand. So the idea is to draw, a hand of, like 13, 14, 15 cards and then not have to pay for a key.
Which you did.
Yes, I did. I was trying to set it up because I had the Key Abduction in my hand for forever, and I drew into Arise. And so my plan was to Arise the turn before I was planning to do the Key Abduction. Then I would Arise, bring all the Mars creatures that I had that had died back into my hand, and then play the double battle fleet, to draw. I think I ended up with like 20 cards in my hand by the end of that, and then just play the Key Abduction to win the game, which
so
I did.
Brutal.
So yeah, it was it worked exactly as I had hoped it would, but I don't expect that to happen very often.
Yeah, those draw effects can be like out of control sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially when you can Logos has a lot of that too.
Yeah, like in Logos, if you're like Logos Untamed, or I don't think I've seen a Logos with like 2 library access, but if you can Logos Untamed and you have library access and Nepenthe Seed, you can library access and then use the Nepenthe Seed to get the library access back, and then you're drawing 2 cards for every card that you play, which a lot of the time just like infinitely draws you through your deck. Or at least 6 times, because you can only play each card 6 times.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, because you can go search, you can search on the Compendium website now, and I searched specifically to see if there are any decks with 2 library access or 2 bait and switch, and there aren't any.
Interesting.
So they made bait and switch and library access common cards, but where you can only have 1.
And that is what makes Nepenthe Seed so good.
Yep. Or Mimicry, if your opponent has a library access in their discard pile, and then you have 1 in your hand.
Dude, that would be pretty fun, because like if you Mimicry with it, like you're in Untamed, and then you get to play a bunch of Untamed cards.
And you have your Hunting Witch out. You just play 1,000 creatures.
Well, that's why like Witch of the Eye is so great, because you just reap and get a card back. I mean, in a game where you might have only 1 copy of a card and 36 cards, and you get your most powerful card back, like that's really good.
Yeah.
So since you guys mentioned it, I will always prefer playing in person. I got together with some friends last week. We went to a Starbucks that was open until like midnight and just played for several hours, and and just had a blast. But since we are the Wild Wormhole, I thought I'd give a shout out to an awesome Wild Wormhole play that a buddy played against me early on in a game. He dropped a Wild Wormhole, revealed the Untamed card Save the Pack, which says play, destroy each damaged creature, and gain 1 chain. So pretty amazing board wipe, right?
Nice.
Except
yeah.
neither
Except
of us
he just
had
wiped-
a damaged creature. So,
so he
that
like
stinks.
just played it to gain a chain and
yeah,
nothing
he
else.
literally
That's
just
so
got a
good.
chain. That's it. That's why I love that card so much.
That's awesome.
It can be so good. It can be so bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
It's
this,
really good.
like this
with,
podcast right here.
Yeah.
We can only make that joke so many times, but
It's really good with library access because you get the double draw off of it.
yep. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that.
It is really,
Cool.
really good.
All right, you guys ready to dive in?
Let's do
I'm
it.
ready to dive in, man.
All right, so we decided to do something at least for the next 7 episodes. We're gonna do a house.
Maybe by then the new set will be out and there'll be
There
7
you go.
more.
Hopefully not, because we're trying to record once a week for the main episodes at least. So, we decided to like I said, do a house of the week. And this week we're gonna start with the old Brobnar.
That's
The
right.
old Brobnar.
And I sort of picked this one because I'll be honest, guys. Of all the houses, the one I have generically been least excited about is Brobnar. Always
Ew.
have been. I don't know. I just had a very lackluster impression of Brobnar in a game that feels like a race, and when the strength of your house seems to be fighting, but you don't win by fighting. It just felt like you were trying to win at 2 different things. And so I had a very lackluster impression of Brobnar, and then I opened a deck that had Brobnar Sanctum Dis in it, and I looked at it and I was like, this does not excite me. This is not great. I sent it to you guys, and you both kind of lost your minds and said, "Oh my
I
gosh,
was
that
like,
deck looks
I'll
amazing."
buy
You're
it
like,
from
yeah,
you for
yeah,
$10.
exactly. It's like I'll trade you.
I'll trade you one of my decks for it.
And so I was like, really, you guys like it that much? So I again, it was first impressions, but I took it and played it casually, and I've since played it many more times, and I actually haven't even lost with it yet. And a lot of it is due to the Brobnar cards that are they just work. It just works really well together, and I think,
Dude, can I say something real quick? That is like what it's what I love so much about this game. Like you opened this deck, you looked at it, you thought, I don't even want to play this. Like, is this good? It doesn't look good to me. And then you played it and it hasn't lost yet. Like you're living that discovery, theme. It's so good.
yes. Exactly. I totally agree, because I sat there totally pessimistic, and now I'm like, wow, there's way more to Brobnar. There's way more depth than I originally thought, and it's interesting. It's interesting. So so that was kind of my impression. What have your kind of overall impressions of Brobnar been? Maybe how it started and where it is right now.
So for one, I think that pre-release, when all the decks that got spoiled from Gen Con and all that kind of stuff, and all those deck lists were up on Tabletop Simulator, and we were all playing those decks, I think that those decks gave us a misconception of the strength of Brobnar. I think some of those decks had probably not the best Brobnar suite of cards in them, and they kind of felt iffy. And then, like you said, when we learned about the game, it was less about fighting than it was getting amber and forging your keys. And Brobnar honestly doesn't have that many cards where they're just like gain a ton of amber. Like Untamed, you have those cards that are like gain 4, give your opponent 2, or like Dust Pixie, get 2, and what is he called? The Witch of the Wild or whatever that you get.
Hunting Witch.
Hunting Witch, there you go. That you get amber. It doesn't generate amber like that. The cards that generate amber for it are the cards like Loot the Bodies or
The War Chest,
and then the Headhunter, and man, I just ruined everything. All right, never mind.
No,
but all those cards
there's a lot,
are the cards that like you get amber from in Brobnar, but they all require you to fight. So it's a different play style than the other houses that we have, but it's a play style that I've really come to like. And I posted on Facebook the other day. I was like, man, Brobnar has slowly become one of my favorite houses I've played. And a lot of people, I think, agree with me that it's gotten better over time the more we've played. I don't know. I really like Brobnar. I like the look of Brobnar. I like the creatures in Brobnar. I like the theme of Brobnar. It's just I like it.
Yeah, it has some of the coolest art. Like cards like Relentless Assault, like the Mighty Javelin, you know, like King of the Crag or like Khalifi Dragon, like it all looks so epic. And yeah, it's very awesome. Like at first glance, it's like, I mean, I agree. I was kind of in the same boat where it was like, okay, like, you know, big buff creatures in a game that doesn't care that much about big buff creatures, but it kind of does, but in more of a roundabout way. And especially if your deck has like cards like the War Chest or cards like, you know, Loot the Bodies or things that can allow you to capitalize on those big creatures that you have. It can, I mean, it makes a big difference. And you can end up, you know, like having a big board that your opponent can't deal with, and like they can still reap. So it's just, you know, beefier guys with more health that can reap. Like I'd rather sit there and reap with a Ganger Chieftain who does, you know, like after you play him, he does nothing, but he has 5 power versus like a Dust Imp that's just gonna die in like, you know, like a half a second.
Yeah. There are a lot of these Brobnar creatures that have 5 or more power, and if you think about like a lot of the like not board wipes, but the ones that do just damage out of hand,
do AoE,
are typically like 4 or less. I'm trying to think of examples off the top of my head, but the Mars card, Ammonia Clouds. You've got the Shadows card, Poison Wave. Poison Wave was the one I was thinking about. So like they just seem very like immune to a lot of the typical effects that can like wipe a Shadows board in comparison, in contrast. So I think that's what I learned to appreciate, because I've been playing so much of those like really low health creatures that have elusive and do a lot of stealing and things like that. So then when I played Brobnar, I was like, oh, these guys just don't die unless you have like Gateway to Dis or Coward's End. But even Coward's End, a lot of times they end up damaged because they're fighting a lot, so it doesn't work against them. But but yeah,
there's a lot of direct damage cards too, and there's a lot of control in Brobnar. People, I think, underestimate the amount of control that Brobnar has, because Brobnar's control is it's fighting, so keeping your opponent's creatures off the board while gaining Amber. That's really efficient. Yeah. Plus, it has a lot of Amber control.
It does.
With burn the stockpiles, make them lose a bunch, and then bump C to make them lose them. Then you War Drummer. War Drummer makes you pick up all your Brobnar guys, so you can play bump C twice in one turn. Trimmer is an insanely good card. It stuns a creature and then both of its neighbors.
Yeah, that's super good. There's like Screech Bomb, you know, forces your opponent to lose 2. Grenade Snib, when it dies, your opponent loses 2. So there are quite a few ways to control
Lumiere, Flame Fist, if they have 7 or more, they lose 2. Tons of Amber control.
Yeah, so it has more to it than, you know, a first glance would show. So yeah, what kind of cards have you guys been enjoying? What's your favorite Brobnar card, Jay?
I'm pretty sure I mentioned most of ours. I'm gonna go with Loot the Bodies, because it just, for one, it's really funny, because what's the flavor text? Loot the bodies, hit the floor. Loot the bodies, hit the floor.
Dude, that's amazing. I never read that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. You guys have heard that song, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let the bodies hit the floor.
If nobody's heard of it, it's a song by the band Drowning Pool, and it is a very very heavy, like, you know, I
rock song.
Yeah, I don't think I'd call it metal, but it was kind of a meme like when I was in high school.
yeah, and it's totally something you could hear.
Oh yeah, like
playing.
Brobnar would totally listen to that song.
Yeah, exactly. Like headbanging, kind of like Rhodes Fury, Mad Max kind of like guys, just like That's hilarious.
Yeah, Brobnar is definitely the heavy metal house.
Yeah. What Loot the Bodies does, it says play for the remainder of the turn, gain 1 amber each time an enemy creature is destroyed. So it totally fits the theme of Brobnar.
Yeah.
It's funny because of the flavor text. It's also funny because it's like that person that's playing D&D, and it's like before the fight's even done, they're looting the bodies. You know? So it's funny and it fits the theme, and it's a really good way to combo with Coward's End to get tons of amber. So many times have I drawn these cards together and just gotten like 7 amber or like 4 amber. I mean, even 2 amber is almost worth it because you're removing creatures and you're getting amber for it.
The burst potential is real.
Yeah. Plus, you pair this with something like Gauntlet of Command.
Yeah.
So you can fight and kill more than one creature with one of your creatures, or I don't remember if one of you were gonna say this, but play War Chest. If you play Loot the Bodies and War Chest and you fight with Gauntlet of Command, you fight like 5 times that turn. You get 2 amber for everyone you destroy. That's 10 amber right there. That's crazy.
It's pretty nuts. I have a deck with War Chest. I think 3 Gauntlets of Command, which I'll talk about in a sec, and then like 1 other card that lets you steal or gain amber every time like a creature, every time you fight or whatever, and it ends up being a lot of amber.
Yep. What about you, David?
Yeah, I'll just stick with my original. So I picked Headhunter, which is not very exciting, but he's a 5 power creature that has the text of fight, gain 1. So instead of reaping to gain 1, you just fight with Headhunter and you get the 1 anyways. To me, it's like this guy is like the quintessential Brobnar creature that just does exactly what this house wants to do. It wants to fight. It rewards you for fighting. And there's a lot of ways to like abuse this that I found too. Like if you play, like I have in my deck, I have Headhunter and I have multiple, I think I have 2 Gengar Chieftains. Gengar Chieftain's another 5 power guy where when you play it, you may ready and fight with a neighboring creature. So you play the Gengar Chieftain, like, so you can fight multiple times with his Headhunter, and you can even like, another great way to do it is like when if they have a bunch of elusive guys, like I think, Mike, I was playing you and you had a bunch of shadow elusive guys. And I would just sort of use the Headhunter to farm against your guys, because I could fight your dude with elusive, not take any damage in return, but still get the amber and clear that elusive, and then fight with a different guy to actually kill the guy.
Yeah, and then keep your Headhunter healthy to keep doing it over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, pair this with Loot the Bodies and War Chest. You're gaining 3 every time you destroy a creature.
A lot, man.
Yeah.
That's a key right there.
Yeah.
If you kill 2 creatures, which is very possible.
Absolutely.
So,
Mike, how about you?
All right. The card in Brobnar that I think is my favorite, at least it's the one that I've had the most fun with so far, is Gauntlet of Command. It's mostly because I have a deck that has 3 of them in it, which I think we talked about on the show last time. But those things do work, man. When you have, a couple Brobnar creatures out, and then like like a big untamed guy, or just like anything, just like being able to use your creatures out of house is so powerful.
You need to read the card, Mike. Make a bad radio.
We've been talking about it a lot.
Command, action,
read
ready
the flavor
and fight.
text too.
Okay, ready and fight with a friendly creature. Its flavor text is, I said, take me to your leader, and got a fist to the face. Captain Val Jericho. So it's just good. Like even if you don't have creatures from another house and you're just like fighting over and over again with Brobnar creatures, we've already said that that's what they want to do. So it's just good.
Yep.
Love it.
Is Captain Val Jericho a Mars guy, or is it making fun of like if like of this Brobnar guy was like, take me to your leader, to a Mars guy, and then got punched in the face?
I feel like he's got to be like a Mars guy or something, and then he's getting the Gauntlet of Command fist in his face.
Yeah. That's funny.
Love Brobnar. Cool. Any other thoughts on on this house before we move on?
They're awesome.
Yeah. Play more Brobnar.
They're better than I thought. Just watch out for like heavy board wipe text.
I have to say, Brobnar and Mars were probably my least favorite when I first started playing the game. And now that I've played more, I think I like all the houses. Like, there's not a house that I don't like.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I think my like the house that I was most excited for, like when the game was first like announced, was Sanctum, and I think that's like the least exciting house to me, or at least, and yeah, I still think it's awesome. Like there's still really cool Sanctum decks, but yeah, it's like kind of flip flop for me, and the houses that I thought I would be super into, I'm not as into, and the houses that I didn't think I would be into, I am much more into.
Yeah, my Brobnar deck that I was just talking about has, like I said, it has Sanctum in it, and there are 3 bulwarks in it.
Nice.
So what's the name of the deck so that people can look it up?
It's Warlord, and the letter Z, like a middle name initial Z, and then Raijabal. I don't know. It's spelled Raijabal. So Warlord Z Raijabal.
Is the Z in quotes or anything?
Nope. It's just Z period.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a solid deck, dude. 3 bulwarks with Brobnar is so sick.
It's really gross. Like it's
your
like
creatures
even
don't die.
Yeah, I just don't. If you don't have board wipes, you're just screwed.
You're screwed. Yeah. There you go.
Awesome. All right, let's move on. So you guys were talking a little bit before we started recording this episode about the ability to lock out your opponent and how that sort of exists in this game. There's been a little bit of talk online about it, and basically there are situations where you might play something and your opponent can counter it with something on their next turn that puts you in a situation where you cannot get out of this lock, and essentially you just lose the game. So Mike, do you want to kind of explain a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So I think the one that is on most people's mind is there's a disc creature called Restringentus, which is a really weird name. I like, where did that come from? But he is a 1-power creature, and it says play, choose a house. Your opponent cannot choose that house as their active house until Restringentus leaves play. And then if your opponent already has a Pit Lord out, I'll read Pit Lord, but Jay knows Pit Lord very well. Pit Lord's a 9-power creature that gives you 2 amber when it enters play. It has taunt, and it says while Pit Lord is in play, you must choose Dis as your active house. So if you have a Pit Lord in play and your opponent has a Restringentus, and they say that you can't choose house Dis, Pit Lord says you have to choose Dis. Restringentus says you can't choose Dis. So you can't choose any house, basically. And so for the rest of the game, until you get rid of either Restringentus or Pit Lord, you can't choose a house. And because you can't choose a house, you can't actually play cards or do anything. So you are then locked out of the game and you can't actually play, basically.
Which is the easiest lockout to do. I think there's one more that we're aware of right now, but that one requires significantly more setup.
Yeah. And I mean, like, even the Pit Lord thing, like, it requires you to walk into it. And if you are playing Archon, you get to look at your opponent's deck list before you sit down. So if you're playing a Pit Lord deck and you see Restringentus, you're probably going to want to just discard that Pit Lord. So that's pretty much the gist of that particular lockdown. But I've seen people online kind of complaining that, like, this shouldn't exist. This is a problem. Like, this should be fixed. And I personally kind of push back against that, but so does Richard Garfield, who posted on Board Game Geek. And I mean, like, of course, everybody's free to disagree with the creator and with anyone that it is something that they dislike in the game. But I see the point, and so basically Richard Garfield's point is that he intended to have Lockdown be a part of the game. And basically when Magic was first designed, there were sort of like multiple strategies and not just like, gain creature dominance and attack your opponent with those creatures. So there were a lot of different types of decks, like land destruction decks that force your opponent to discard all the cards in their hand, deck stuff like that. And so, like, to quote his post, he says, "To me, it was exciting to have these corners of the universe where things behave differently." And he said that there were playtesters who advocated removing or hamstringing them, all to the point that the game would work in a more predictable way, which Magic eventually did because of sort of like the direction that game went. But I think that in Keyforge, it's not as much of a problem because there is no deck building. If you could build a deck in Keyforge, which I'm so glad that you can't, because the things that you'd be able to do are ridiculous. Like every single game would come down to who played second, because the first player only gets to play one card, and then the second player would just play their combo and just win on the spot probably. So like the amount of setup that it requires, like, to be locked out like this is not insignificant. And then you also have to have the exact combination of cards in your deck to make it work. And you also have to then have a deck that doesn't just automatically lose when it doesn't get that combo. So I think that there's enough barriers to it happening, and there's enough sort of variety in like the various formats. Like, you know, playing this game to just like find the best deck and always play the best deck against somebody else is not really like the point, I would argue. And, you know, it's like the wacky formats out there, like the reversal format, which basically says bring your worst deck and let your opponent play it against you. And you know, like even sealed, like there's so many ways to play this game that I think like talking about, you know, quote unquote nerfing a lockout like shouldn't even enter into the conversation.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I totally agree with you on pretty much everything you said about that. There are, I think, other things that you have to consider though. One, my only nitpick about lockouts is that, one, they should be more difficult to do than I play a card, then you play a card. Now I'm locked out of the game.
Mm-hmm. But like,
reason being not because I'll counterpoint myself in a second.
Okay.
The reason being that, say I buy a deck, my first deck ever, my friend buys his first deck ever, I play Pit Lord, he plays Restraint, whatever it's called. Now I'm locked out of the game, and this is the first time I've ever played Keyforge. It's probably not going to make me want to buy another deck and keep playing and keep learning how to play this game, because I'm gonna immediately question, especially if I've played other card games, I'm gonna immediately question the balance of the game. I'm not saying it's unbalanced. I'm just saying, as a new player, if this happens, then it's not gonna make me happy. Now that's not gonna happen. I mean, it may happen, but it's probably not gonna be a lot of people that this specific scenario happens to. And like I said, I'm going to counterpoint myself. If you've played the game before and then you play these two decks against each other, you're going to learn, you're going to discover, which is exactly the point of Keyforge, this discovery. And you're going to know, I'm not going to play Pit Lord against that deck, or I'm not going to play Pit Lord against another Dis deck. Or in my case, I'm gonna throw away every single deck that has Pit Lord in it.
and like, you're totally allowed to do that. Like you can just say, like, I hate Pit Lord, I'm not ever gonna play a Pit Lord deck, and then you don't have to.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing sealed, and then you do. If you open it. but then like the times that you do play it, like if okay, Jay, if you're forced to play Pit Lord for like 4 rounds in a tournament, you're gonna get so much better at it by the end of it than you are now.
I'm just gonna discard them every single time.
Yeah, and you can totally do that.
Yeah, which makes this game great. You know, like, so, like, you put yourself in the situation of lockout. Like, I think,
yeah,
I obviously, a brand new player not knowing the card pool, yes, that's a different discussion. But I think,
yeah,
at you know, and as we all learn the cards and learn some of the combos and things that are happening, for those who actually, like, I don't know. I feel like if you played a casual game, you got locked out, you'd be like, oh, that sucks. That felt really bad. But then you'd learn and get over it.
But then, like, let's play again, and then, you know, like, not make the mistake that got you there.
So for the casual player, it's like they'll get over it. And then for the competitive player, it's like you'll know like you said, like don't play Pit Lord against a disc deck if you don't know the deck list and you don't know what they might be able to do. I don't know.
Yeah, and like just
if
in general,
you go read Richard Garfield's like response, it totally makes sense, and I totally agree with everything he said about it, and I like what he said about it, and I think it's fine. I think people are overreacting, but I think if you're super worried about the design and the balance of the game, then you're probably not playing the game the way it's supposed to be played. And if you want to play something hyper competitive, go play Magic or something. Play Keyforge the way it's supposed to be played, and discover, have fun, play casually. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm mostly on board with that.
Mostly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's time to be competitive.
Yeah,
which is really fun because of the format that I played the other day.
Yeah, let's talk about that real quick.
So me and a buddy of mine over at Daydream Gaming, if you haven't checked them out on YouTube, they have really quality stuff. They don't put out a lot, but he makes really quality videos. Me and him, his name's Daniel, we went to our local game store and we played a few matches. And what we did is we played the adaptive format, which is we both bring one deck. We play the first match with our decks. We play the second match, we swap decks and play each other's decks. And then if there's a third match, then we bid chains for the deck that we want to play, which is so interesting to me. And it makes
so fun.
It makes the competitive side of Keyforge way more entertaining, because it takes away that problem that people say, well, a good deck's gonna just always win. And it takes that and it says, well, play this format, and that's not gonna be the case. Because we can bid up to like 20 chains on a deck. Now that deck is evened out.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
How many rounds of that did you play?
We played just one round,
just
so
one.
We did like
Did you
like
a 1-3 round thing.
Yeah, how'd you do?
I won.
Lies. You're terrible.
But what's cool about it is, even if you don't want to play the other person's deck, you want to play your own deck, what you do is you bid so that they have to start with chains, but stop early so you get to play with your own deck. Does that make sense?
No.
So one deck is better than the other, obviously.
Okay.
But you don't want to play that other deck. You want to try to win with your deck. So what you do is, instead of saying I want to play with my deck and just playing without chains, you say I'll bid 6 chains for your deck. Now your opponent has to bid higher than that to play that deck. And if they do, then you could stop early in the bidding process so that you can play your own deck, but force your opponent to start with chains.
Well, what if you really want to play your opponent's deck?
Yeah, if you said you're bidding 6 chains to play, I'd be like, okay, it's yours, man. Let's go.
Dude, 6 chains is nothing.
Like
though.
that's like the poker side of this, right? Like where it's like, are you bluffing?
Yeah.
Like, are you real?
Yeah.
All right.
That makes it so. It's like so exciting though. Like there's a whole strategy to like how you bid.
Yeah,
you know, like if you're playing that
aspect.
format, which is crazy. So did you end up playing your deck twice?
I ended up playing my own deck.
Okay.
Because mine was the better one.
Uh-huh.
I won with my deck, and then he won with my deck, and then we bid. But he wanted to play his own deck to see if he could beat mine.
Oh, okay.
So he was just bidding on my deck until he wanted to stop and play his own.
Got it.
It was funny.
So the strategy you're talking about
is just trying to force some chains upon you. Yeah. So correction, if you're playing against Jay.
Yeah. Jay's like, guys, I figured it out. I know how to do it. This is how you do
deck.
it. I mean, that's just one scenario.
That's a great idea, Jay. I'm proud of you, son.
Beautiful.
I think that's probably going to be the best format to play competitively to me.
It seems really, really cool.
I think it's better than the Archon format.
Do you like, if you're not playing against a friend, like how do you feel against somebody like, you know, like shuffling your cards and playing?
Oh,
like,
I totally don't care.
Yeah, it's fine.
A lot of people probably will care.
Yeah.
But those people need to go play Magic or something.
Fair enough. All right, let's move on.
Note, let's move on. We do enjoy the lighter side of Keyforge, and so we have a segment here on the Wild Wormhole called King Potato. in reference to a deck that was generated. Its name was King Potato, and Richard Garfield chuckled at said name. And so we've named a segment after King Potato where every week we choose a funny name that you guys have sent in, tweeted at us, posted on Facebook, or whatever. And so we're highlighting some of the funny names that we appreciate. And today, we're actually going to start with an honorable mention to one of our own hosts. Mike the Rebel Spy opened a deck today. And what was the name of that deck, Mike?
The deck's name was The Queen That Unmakes You, specifically.
It's the specifically part.
I know, it got me. Like, I was getting ready for work, and I have most of an unopened 12-pack of decks under my bed because I have a problem. And I was like,
yep.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, have it a little bit awake and, tear open this deck and, try and see what's in here before I head off to work. And I opened the deck and just looked at the name, and I just couldn't stop laughing for a minute. And it was it's like the most ridiculous name I've ever seen. Like, I looked at it and I was like, oh, rude.
That's hilarious.
I love that there's a comma after the U.
Yeah.
It's the
I
queen
know,
that
it's
makes
so
you
good.
comma specifically in case there was any question that this was random. No, she is chosen you to unmake
She
you.
is talking to me directly.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought it was so good.
my comment immediately to Mike was, please tell me that deck is great because it needs to win worlds someday. Like, it just does.
And the deck is okay. It looks really fun.
Hold on, don't tell us. I don't remember what the houses were.
So are you gonna do a little mini guess?
Yeah, you too, David. If I had to guess, I would say Sanctum, Mars, and Logos.
No, I would say Untamed, Sanctum, Dis.
It is Brobnar,
Dude.
Mars, Shadows.
Oh wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so
I was over 3.
both you guys are terrible.
Yeah.
I got one of those. I got Mars.
I think Jay got Mars. Yeah. But yeah, if anybody wants to check the deck out, go look it up. It's pretty interesting. It does have 2 Seeker Needles and 2 Bad Pennies. So that
I remember
is super
that.
fun. Yeah. And then it's got 2 cannons out of Brobnar. Like,
cannon's not that good to me.
well, but there's 2 of them. So like,
There's 2.
anytime
and
you're in
if you
Brobnar,
get 2 Seeker Needles out too, it's like all of them do
it's
direct
just
damage.
so much direct damage. Yeah.
All right. Well, Mike, you can't win King Potato, so
No, I can't.
we're gonna give it to somebody else. This one was actually tweeted at us, and Mike and Jay haven't heard the name of this yet. So, but the winner of the King Potato this week is the Guild Master that slaps tornadoes.
That's awesome.
That's great.
The Guild Master that slaps tornadoes.
I mean, it's like terrifying.
What a funny thing to do to a tornado.
Yeah, that's
Of
gotta
all
be a
the things you could
Brobnar
do to
dude,
one.
right?
Yeah.
To slap it.
Yeah.
I feel like it would just suck you up into it if you were to slap.
Not
a
if you're a
tornado.
Guild Master.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because
Are you sure? It doesn't say that he successfully slaps it.
all right, so the Guild Master that slaps tornadoes. Go ahead, each of you throw in a guess for the houses included in this King Potato.
Okay.
You go first, Mike.
All right. The Guild Master. There's a lot of knights in Sanctum, so maybe like the guild has something to do with like some knights.
The guild could totally be Shadows though, because the Thieves Guild in Skyrim.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Guild of Thieves, or like Brobnar, like maybe they're like guilds of barbarians. Although I feel like barbarians probably wouldn't have guilds. I don't think they're organized enough.
No, it's more of clans.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go Sanctum, and then tornadoes. Maybe like something Logos. That for whatever reason that just feels Logos to me. So Logos, Sanctum, and then something about slapping. Who seems like the slappingest class? Probably Shadows, because like Shadows is the most likely to just
That's
like
true.
slap you and then just like run away.
Yeah.
Which
Like,
is
they're not
what I
gonna
feel like
kill
you would
They're
have.
not powerful
Yeah,
enough to
yeah.
kill you. They're just gonna hit you and take your
They're
money.
just gonna give you a little slap and then just like slink off into the darkness, which is I feel like that is what you would have to do to a tornado to not get sucked up into it. So I'm gonna go Sanctum Logos Shadows.
If I were to guess, Guildmaster makes me think of Sanctum. Slap makes me think of Bromnar. And then tornadoes are kind of like natural disasters, which makes me think of nature. So I'm going to say Untamed.
Ooh, but that's a good guess. I like that too.
All right. Mike said Sanctum Logo Shadows. Jay said Sanctum Brobnar Untamed. And the actual ones include this are Sanctum. So you both got it right.
We got that one.
Sweet.
Untamed.
Hey.
Damn it.
So Jay's got 2 then. But
Boo.
the final one is Dis.
Oh, come
Nice.
Because,
So I win.
you know, tornadoes are very dislike, you know? Dis.
on. Well,
Yeah.
maybe
Disrupt-
the slapping is the diss.
Yeah. Yeah. That sounds very disrespectful.
There it is.
I
Nailed it.
should have gotten it. Yeah,
Nailed it. Figured it out. But yeah,
You got
thanks
there.
for sending in. If you have a deck or name that makes you laugh and you would like to submit it for consideration of next week's King Potato, tweet at us, Facebook us, whatever, at the Wild Wormhole. Find us on there and we'll see. We'll see if it wins. Or the Queen may unmake you specifically. We'll see. All right. So as we sort of close out the show, we do want to make a quick announcement. We have decided to start a Patreon, patreon.com/thewildwormhole. If you head there, we've got a few tiers where you can support the show. We do this voluntarily because we love the game and it's a blast. But any kind of support helps us create new content and new things that we'd like to pursue. And so we'd love to do that. One of the ways we're going to keep the conversation going is with a Discord channel specifically for supporters of the Wild Wormhole, so we can go and talk about all of our favorite King Potatoes. And as tournament season comes around, even just thoughts on stronger decks and maybe even organize some Crucible games. I don't know. We'll see. But Mike, you want to share any more about the Patreon page?
Yeah, sure. So we wanted to keep it pretty simple. So we're basically offering access to the Discord channel, which you'll be able to support the show and be part of sort of the community that we're creating around sort of like like-minded players who enjoy having fun. Above everything else pretty much. And then every month we're going to be doing some sort of giveaway for some kind of items. Could be like playmats, could be some tokens. This first little bit here, for the first giveaway, we are going to put up a Horseman deck. So if that's something you've been interested in and you don't feel like paying $100 for one, you can gain the opportunity to win one. And
I choked on my drink right there.
Jay, you gonna become a patron?
Yeah, I might for that Horseman
yeah,
deck.
he wants the Horseman deck. And then so we basically have two tiers that are pretty much like just entries into the giveaway and then access to the Discord. And then we have one sort of like higher tier called the Mega Deluxe tier. If you want to be Mega Deluxe, you can be Mega Deluxe. And so you get pretty much both of those other things, as well as like we're going to start recording our episodes sort of live with like the people in that tier in like a chat room basically, so they can listen to us talk, and then we can kind of pull their commentary and questions into the show. So that will be a lot of fun. If you guys want to be a part of that.
I can't screw up the intro anymore?
No, you can definitely still screw up the intro. We'll just have to keep it in.
Let's be honest, you definitely will screw up the intro, Jay.
and we will keep it in. So
yeah, great. Fantastic.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. If that if you guys are interested in supporting the show, that would mean a lot to us, but by no means feel obligated. We wanted to make it something that is just like a cool benefit for those of you who are interested in that, and not something that people feel super like bad about for not being a part of it.
Yeah. Great part is like $1 a month goes a long way for us, and that gives you access to the Patreon too. So,
and the giveaways.
And the giveaways. So, so check that out. Patreon.com/thewildwormhole. I think that'll do it for today. We mentioned this last time, and we are officially doing it. We're going to be doing these sort of, hopefully, assuming schedules line up, hopefully weekly episodes with the three of us. And then, but because we want to continue to push more content out there and just support the game even more, we're going to have these sort of mini bonus episodes that we are affectionately calling the Sloppy Lab Works. Because we started with Wild Wormhole logos card. We figured let's keep with that theme. And so what we're going to do, I mentioned this last time, but we're going to take a deck and look at the cards of that deck and basically do some commentary about and try to figure out on our own what's the deck trying to do, and maybe identify some combos or identify some strategies, knowing full well that you listening may never play that deck. However, you may learn something about a house, or maybe you'll figure something out that we miss, and by adding some comments on the YouTube page, we all learn a little bit more about this great game called Keyforge. And again, it's just more talk about Keyforge, and who doesn't want to talk about Keyforge? So
that's right.
So be on the lookout. I think the first one will be out this week as well, so you'll get more wormhole than you thought you were going to get. Right?
Okay.
So, yeah. Do you guys want to add anything on that?
Nah.
Nope. Nah.
Jay left us, man. He gone.
I really gotta go.
He's off. He's got
bathroom.
Finals or something stupid or whatever.
God.
All right, and then last but not least, guys, follow, if you are not already, be sure to like our page on Facebook at the Wild Wormhole, or on Twitter, it's just Wild Wormhole. And then this episode is actually on YouTube, but also anywhere you listen to podcasts. So if you want to check out YouTube as well, there will be some content on there. And if you would be so kind to review us on iTunes, that always helps us like direct traffic to us. If someone started playing Keyforge and just search randomly Keyforge in their iTunes podcast app, and it'll drive them to us, and we'd very much appreciate it. Jay, Mike, it's been a pleasure.
It has.
Oh yeah. Always.
You're both trash. We know that.
Always.
And, to close, I decided we're gonna continue to go with the flavor text of the week.
I like it.
And in honor of old Brobnar, I grabbed Yo Mama Mastery card from Brobnar. And
what's it say?
In the words of Yo Mama Mastery, Yo Mama is so tiny.
You know what makes that disc so much better? You add Grimes to the end of it.
Oh, shots fired. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.